Donald Trump is ending 2025 by delivering a much-needed laugh to Americans at his expense in the form of mockery and ridicule over his latest self-worship announcement, and I have all the satisfying details for you next. To get all of our reports on Trump's humiliation of himself and the continued embarrassment he brings to these United States, please hit that subscribe button. The Mayor McCheese of Mar-a-Lago, whose previous best-known association with arches was those of a golden kind, made a new announcement about the one he's building as yet another tribute to himself. Politico broke the news via an interview of the greasy grifter. Have a look at what he said, and then I'll have the wrecking ball of ridicule that landed on the lawless leader.
Trump says construction of the Triumphal Arch to begin in 2 months. The monument would be a centerpiece of the White House's plans for America's 250th birthday, by Sophie Kai. President Donald Trump said in an interview Wednesday that construction of his long-teased Triumphal Arch is expected to begin sometime in the next 2 months. That would put the start date ahead of July 4th, 2026, as the White House ramps up preparations for the nation's 251st anniversary next year. It hasn't started yet. It starts sometime in the next 2 months. It'll be great. Everyone loves it, Trump told Politico when reached by phone from Mar-a-Lago. They love the ballroom too, but they love the Triumphal Arch. The proposed structure, modeled loosely on European victory monuments, is one of several high-profile projects Trump has personally championed as part of the semi-quincentennial celebrations, a sprawling effort expected to include national and local events across the country. The president has at times displayed a model of the proposed arch in recent months. There have been plans to build it by the Lincoln Monument on the other end of a bridge leading to Arlington National Ceremony. Trump has framed the project as a patriotic landmark meant to honor American history and military service. Though critics have raised questions about cost, aesthetics, and whether the executive branch has the authority to unilaterally move forward with such construction in Washington.
Everyone loves it. We'll see about that in just a minute. But first, more from the interview, as Trump also gave some lip service to hosting some human-on-human combat on the White House lawn.
He has also promoted an Ultimate Fighting Championship event on White House grounds on June 14th. Asked who he would want to fight at the White House UFC match, Trump deferred to UFC President Dana White, a longtime ally, to make the selections. Well, Dana's picking them. He's the best fight picker there is, right? Trump said. He's going to pick all of the top fighters. Going to be all championship matches. It'll be the best ever, I think. Really incredible.
I'm sure we'll put that UFC event in a chokehold in a future episode, but for now, let's look at the best ever, like the world has never seen before, believe me, mockery and outrage that erupted over Trump's newest shrine to his insufferable ego.
Eugenius commented, Bob the Builder is too busy to create any meaningful healthcare plans for the American people. 8647 lit Trump up with, it looks straight out of 1930s Germany during the Nazi period. Fight for Progress posted, forget fixing real problems. Trump's next big domestic achievement is building a giant triumphal arch in D.C. to celebrate America's 250th, because nothing says leadership like a massive monument to yourself. Veteran dropped the hammer with, Trump says the unauthorized triumphal arch to begin in 2 months. Congress didn't okay this monument that he says honors the U.S. 250th birthday. Everyone knows this is BS. Once complete, it becomes his monument. Another bait and switch. No living POTUS can honor himself this way? And Bill Kristol said with his big voice, Congress should stop this un-American project. Also, if Trump wants to enjoy an imitation of the Arc de Triomphe, done in a style and at a place congenial to him, he can visit the Arch of Triumph in Pyongyang, completed in 1982.
Trump is putting his runaway ego on full display with this move.
Well, I think that the Trump fever in our country is kind of breaking a little bit. But, what Mark Twain said, reports of my death are greatly exaggerated. And I think some of that is true when it comes to Trump. He still commands a lot in the party. But as time goes on, as the economy doesn't recover, as we see healthcare costs increase, when we see these just terrible ICE detained strategy here, where they're like yanking people out of places who are never done anything, commit a crime in the United States. I think there are Republicans who are beginning to say enough. And remember, everybody who runs for re-election, they can't run on Trump. They have to run on the basis of can they win again, and they got to pick their issues. That's why you're seeing some things break here. But we're still a long way off from seeing a complete shattering of MAGA.
All right, Margaret, a mixed diagnosis from the governor, but Democrats are feeling pretty bullish about their chances in 2026. Take a listen to Speaker Emerita Nancy Pelosi.
So if the Democrats win the House back?
No. When? When the Democrats win the House back, then we will. Right now,
Yeah.
the Republicans in the Congress have abolished the Congress. They just do what the president insists that they do. That will be over.
So that ends as soon as you have a Democratic
That ends as soon as we have the gavel.
Not if, when. What's your reaction, Margaret? Is she being too optimistic? Are the Dems spiking the football too early?
We miss her certainty, and we miss Congressman Kasich. There's still a budget waiting to be balanced here, Congressman. If you ever want to come back, there's been Abigail Spanberger, Mikey Sherrill. There was just a mayor elected in Miami, the first Democrat in 28 years. These are all good signs for the midterms. And I think some of the issues that you mentioned, Melissa, are ones that everybody understands, that he treats the White House like he owns it. At the very least, he owns it. Or he bought it to renovate it, and he's making excuses about the West Wing. Well, the law says you need to have permission to build, but it didn't say anything about tearing it down. I mean, these excuses to when you go past it, Melissa, it's just shocking to see. And you brought up the Kennedy Center. He said he was, quote, surprised and honored by having the center named after him. After he filled the board fired everybody, filled the board with his cronies, and then had a vote. And by the way, it took minutes to get those letters up on the Kennedy Center. And so now it's the Trump and Kennedy. It's kind of astonishing. And the Oval Office, of course, looks like he's decorating that like in an Atlantic City casino, and then putting his predecessor's pictures on the wall with plaques underneath insult.
Let's start with this. Nothing says serious leadership like a grown man pitching monuments to himself like they're limited edition merch drops. Just when you think the circus has packed up, a new attraction rolls into town with gold trim and a megaphone. If ego were renewable energy, America would be fully powered for the next 1,000 years. I mean, most presidents leave behind policies or legacies. This one wants a skyline accessory. You can't make this stuff up, but somehow it keeps getting pitched with a straight face. At this point, satire is just chasing the news, out of breath, and the laugh it gives you is the kind that slowly turns into disbelief. Here's my blunt take. This isn't patriotism, it's personal branding masquerading as national pride. Wrapping self-promotion in red, white, and blue doesn't magically make it noble. When leaders focus on monuments instead of medicine, housing, or wages, it tells you exactly where their priorities live. Big projects are flashy, but they don't fix what's broken at the kitchen table. The louder the claim that everyone loves it, the more it sounds like someone trying to convince themselves. History isn't honored by vanity pieces. It's honored by actually serving the people who live through it. Context matters here. Because this idea didn't fall from the sky. Around the world, leaders with authoritarian tendencies love grand structures that scream permanence and power. They're meant to project strength, even when the foundation underneath is shaky. America's identity was never supposed to be about statues to living politicians. It was about messy democracy, debate, and accountability. When the focus shifts to personal glorification, that balance starts to wobble. This isn't just about one structure, it's about the message behind it. And that message feels far more about ego than about the nation's story. Emotionally, this hits a nerve because people are tired of watching real problems get sidelined while spectacle takes center stage. Families are juggling bills, veterans are waiting on care, and communities are asking for basic stability. Seeing energy poured into symbolic flexes can feel like a slap in the face. It creates a sense that regular Americans are background noise in their own country. That frustration is real, and it's justified. Leadership should feel grounding, not alienating. Right now, it feels like we're being asked to clap from the cheap seats, and let's be honest, the aesthetic debate isn't trivial either. Public spaces are shared spaces, not personal mood boards. Decisions about them are supposed to go through democratic channels, not impulse announcements. When process gets ignored, it sets a dangerous precedent. Today, it's an arch. Tomorrow, it's something far more consequential. The rule of law isn't decorative, it's structural. Skip it, and everything else starts to bend. That's why this conversation matters beyond the laughs. So, here's the big question. I want to throw to you, what should actually define a president's legacy in a democracy like ours? Is it stone and spectacle, or policies that quietly make lives better? Do we want leaders